This is a study about environmental factors in student achievement presented by Andrea Johnson. The introduction of the study examines the correlation between environmental factors and student achievement. The purpose of the study is to examine the factors within a child's environment that play a role in promoting or inhibiting cognitive abilities. The three research questions that were examined during the study were: do family dynamics impact student achievement? Are students more intrinsically or extrinsically inclined to reach his or her full learning potential? And can social interaction with peers have a positive impact on student achievement? The necessity of the study is as follows. This research is necessary in order to determine the uniqueness of every individual student. Each student has a personal story, and no two stories are the same. Students have varying components in their lives, but yet they are held to the same achievement standards in school. This research is necessary in order to determine the differing of familial life, motivation, and peer relationships that can impact student achievement. Family and how it can impact student achievement. The potential benefactor in the development of student intellectual abilities is the family. When the nation entered the public education era, the driving force behind student achievement became the school. According to human growth and development models, academic competence among children and adolescents is not solely dependent on teaching practices and social processes in the classroom setting. Academic competence is also developed through familial environments. The family directly influences child and adolescent behavior by contributing to the development of competencies, which in turn yields high success rates. Factors such as financial status and parental educational attainment contribute to social class status that may affect family involvement in school activities. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivators. Tangible rewards such as pizza parties, candies, pencils, certificates, etc. are classroom management tools widely used by teachers. But evidence shows these rewards have a tendency to undermine intrinsic motivation for completing an assignment or behaving in an appropriate manner. This holds true, especially for school-age children. In order to increase student intrinsic motivation, educators should consider shifting one's focus on student input and participation. Consider assignments and other tasks from the student's perspective. Be more diplomatic when creating classroom behavior guidelines and delivering instruction. Allow the students to have a part in developing learning activities and creating a behavior management plan. Becoming a more diplomatic teacher in the classroom promotes intrinsic motivation, student creativity, cognitive flexibility, and conceptual understanding of learning activities. When the devaluing of intrinsic motivation occurs, it delineates from the facilitative climate that should exist within a classroom setting. The last component of environmental factors that affect student achievement is peer influence. Researchers have been discussing the link between social interactions among peers in school and academic outcomes for over 40 years. The extensive literature notes that a child's peer group influences social and academic development, and that these influences begin at the very start of formal education. Influences and motivations for all kinds of children's behavior, including study habits and personal academic development, come not only from their peers, but also from their parents, teachers, and others with whom they come into close contact. Because of the sheer amount of time the typical child spends each day with his or her friends, and peer influence on a child can be substantial. The methods component of this study consisted of students in the 5th grade. The participants were both boys and girls. 30 surveys were handed out, but only 21 students returned a consent form giving them permission to complete the survey. All students who participated were from the Churchland area of Portsmouth and were in the same class. The instrumentation used for the professional survey. All students were provided with 2 surveys. The first survey was a diagnostic questionnaire that was geared towards student achievement. This questionnaire consisted of 16 questions. The questions were scaled, meaning the answer choices ranked from strong to weak, large to small, low to high, bad to good, and good to bad. The questionnaire examined the relationship between the student and teacher, study habits, success rates, and student ability. The next form of instrumentation used was a student-created survey. This survey consisted of 12 questions. It was comprised of both demographic features and the 3 environmental factors examined within this study: family structure, intrinsic and extrinsic motivators, and peer interactions. The demographic features of this survey were age, gender, and guardianship. The second section of the survey examined what motivates students: intrinsic versus extrinsic rewards, how their parents or guardians contribute to their academic success, the effects of peer interactions in aiding students in reaching their full learning potential, and how they view school. The reliability and validity of the study. The instrument used was very reliable, and the questions were structured around the research. Although there were a few external and internal threats to the research, the instrument was able to assess students in a manner that was beneficial to the research questions. The same holds true for the validity of the study. The variables of this study. The independent variable are the factors that promote or inhibit a student's level of achievement. The independent variables are family structure, extrinsic and intrinsic motivators, and peer interactions. The level of achievement is the dependent variable. The level of achievement in most cases is affected by environmental factors such as family structure, intrinsic and extrinsic motivators, and peer interactions. The results of the study are as follows. What the screen is showing is our pie graphs of the participants' ages and participants' genders. There were 10% of the participants were 10 years old, 80% of the participants were 11 years old, and another 10% were 12 years old. Participants' gender, 48% were female, 52% were male. Guardianship. 43% of the students who participated in the survey came from one-parent households, while 52% came from dual-parent households, and 5% had guardians that were not maternal or paternal parents. The results of the professional survey. According to the students' responses for the Student Achievement Diagnostic Questionnaire, the students' average answers were relatively high. Most students feel their teachers want them to learn and study. Many students want to do what their teachers require them to do, believe school will help them in future work, and like to please their teacher. Almost all the students surveyed believe their teachers know the importance and worth of school and believe school will help them to be successful. Many students view the actions of their teachers as pleasing, and school will help them to do what they want to do in life. A plethora of students believe teachers want them to do their best. Many students believe they are good at getting high scores in school and that they are a good student. With the lowest average of 5, students gave a moderate rating to the way teachers work with them. Many students feel their true ability is relatively high and they are good at learning in school. The results of the student-created survey. In reference to the student-created survey, 81% of students do well in school because it makes them proud. 57% of students view their achievement level as above level. Most students, with a percentage of 81%, sometimes receive assistance with homework and assignments. When having difficulties with an assignment, 65% would rather receive assistance from a teacher. 35% prefer a parent, and 0 students chose a friend. 62% of students felt their friends helped them with their schoolwork, while 38% of students said their friends distract them. Most students with a percentage of 85 enjoy learning new skills in school, while 15% enjoy interacting with friends versus learning. Studying with a buddy varies. 38% of students like to study alone, 33% study with a buddy, and 29% prefers to study with a teacher or parent. 71% of students' parents reward them for doing well in school, and 29% of students do not receive extrinsic motivators. For 95% of students, there are consequences for doing well in school, and 5% do not receive consequences for not achieving at an optimal level. Limitations to the study, the internal threats were the participants. As I collected the research, some participants may not have fully understood the questions and therefore did not ask for clarification, therefore which would have led to an internal threat of threatening the credibility of the study. Some external threats were time constraints, being that the study had to be conducted within a short amount of time. More data was not able to be gathered. The randomness of the sample, all the participants were from the same area, same grade, and the same class. Also, another external threat is the sample size. Only 30 surveys were passed out, 21 surveys returned, which lacks diversity within the study. Implications for further research. Implications for further research may be finding an instrument that can assess student achievement. It is good to get the opinions of the students, but their responses may not always be credible. Another implication is the issue of having a test that can accurately measure student achievement. Can achievement be accurately measured given a single survey or questionnaire? Although many are held to the same standards, not all students progress at the same rate. A more credible method to monitor student achievement is through observation, determining where a student is in his or her area of study and monitoring progress being accomplished. And the last slide lists my references, and this concludes my presentation on the environmental impact on student achievement. Thank you.